back to the Secret Passage podcast. I'm your host, Dana Vespoli. With me is my amazing co-host, Shannon Rogers.
Hello.
So, we are back after a nice little Halloween The Shining segment, which was, I'd say, really light fare compared to what we normally do. And we're back today with a doozy. But before we get into it, why don't we talk about our secret passages that we wandered down this past week? How about you, Shannon?
Okay. I'm not ready to let go of Halloween. I always watch horror movies, but I still am thinking about Halloween. So Tim and I were talking last night about ghosts and all the weird stuff we used to do. He didn't do this as much as a kid, but I used to was obsessed with the occult. Like back in the day, all the 70s and 80s movies about seances and that kind of thing. And like as a kid, I had this really good friend, Cindy, and my sister, her and her sister were all friends. And their family had this 100-year-old Victorian that they moved from one location to another in the town that I grew up in. And they lifted the house when they did it. We were digging underneath and we would find like cat bones and little broken dishes from like the 1800s and all this stuff. And we would do like Ouija boards in her house in the attic. And it was terrifying, but it's so exciting for us. And one time we were doing this Ouija board and the little paddle was moving and we're like, what is your name, spirit? It's all MEMEVOC. And I was like, Memevoc! Oh my God, it's Memevoc. And it's a demon. So I was telling Tim about this. He's like, you should look it up and see if it's a real demon. And so I looked it up and it is. I'm totally kidding. It's not.
Oh.
It's not. But we used to do that. We used to do Bloody Mary. We used to do light as a feather, stiff as a board. We used to do past life regression stuff as kids. We would lay there and try to go back to our past lives. Did you ever do stuff like that when you were little?
I did Bloody Mary. I did it by myself, though. I didn't have friends until later. The fact I'm doing Bloody Mary by myself as a kid is probably one of the reasons why. Obviously, nothing happened.
That's so sweet. She didn't come get you and
No, she didn't. I was, but here's what's weird is like I wanted her to come get me and take me to like a better place. Like take me to the other side where I can be popular. Yeah.
Oh my God. I wish she would have grown up in my town. We would have been friends.
Are you sure? You might
Yes.
not have liked me until middle school age. I was just a weird kid, man. It was just a strange thing. Yeah, but you had friends. My friends were salamanders and slugs.
Aw. That breaks my heart, honestly. We totally would have been friends.
Yeah.
I always had someone on my block, like my friend Jennifer lived on my street and we just became friends because of proximity, but it lasted. But certainly I had friends that didn't work out. Were you just shy? Were you shy when you were little?
Yeah, some of it is I moved around so much that there was already the thing of being the new kid. And then it's not just being the new kid, but being like the new brown kid.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. Like I went to elementary school in like a small coastal town in Oregon. So I was very exotic,
Yeah.
And then on top of that, just reserved because of being new. But things changed for me when we moved to Portland. And then I went to like public school and was an artsy kid and was around other artsy kids and misfits. So that's when things changed. But yeah, no, nothing too occulty and crazy. I mean, I loved horror movies also and grew up watching them and stuff. But yeah, like the Bloody Mary thing I did alone. I didn't do any seance, Ouija board type things.
I probably have demons in my world because of it. I feel like I opened a portal.
Right?
That's for some things I didn't know I was messing with. Yeah.
They're following you around. They're sitting next to you right now, listening. They're waiting for the episode. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
How about you?
Let's see. Did anything? Oh, I dressed Bruno and Poochie up as hot dogs. on Halloween. Oh, I watched The Innkeepers.
Did you like it?
I didn't.
Oh, I liked it. It was a little, I mean, it's a little slow.
Well, no, the slowness wasn't the
Yeah.
problem. It was like, this is so stupid, but they were so loud. And I'm like, dude,
Oh.
there's like people staying in the rooms and they're just like making this huge, like, I found them to be annoying.
Uh-huh, those 2 people who work there, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, there's people staying and you're supposed to be working. And I understand that the inn is closing down permanently, but you have people paying to stay there and you're yelling and carrying on. And then at the end, when she starts following the sound, I'm like,
I know.
the place is haunted and scary. And then she starts walking. And then she's like, hello, hello, doing that classic, like white people in horror movies thing.
Yes.
Hello, is anybody there? And then she goes down to the basement. And I'm like, while this is happening, I'm looking at the screen and I'm like, yep, yep, this is how it ends. Yep, this is how it fucking, you idiot. I'm like
I
yelling
was
at the
so
TV.
surprised that they killed her, but she didn't run. She went to go save someone else instead of just running. I'm like,
Well, but
"Get out!"
yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, that's where it was like so unrealistic. I'm like, your self preservation would kick in, not go try to save a stranger who the guy said he was going to get her. He's like, I'm going to go up to the room and get her. And then she's like, huh, there's a weird, suspicious sound happening in the fucking basement. I better go look. I guess we better get into this really, to our episode, friends. So this was a listener recommendation.
Yes, thank you, Stephen. I hope I don't butcher your last name. Stephen Ettinger, Jr. recommended this, and I had totally forgotten about this case until he reminded me about it.
Yeah. This is the case of Jesse Mack Butler, an 18-year-old kid out of Stillwater, Oklahoma, who was convicted of rape a few months ago, found guilty, and was originally, the sentencing recommendation originally was a prison sentence. He was potentially going to be charged as an adult and serve 70 plus years behind bars, but then they changed it to classifying him as a youthful offender. I'm not clear if these crimes were committed when he was 17.
Let me see. Oh, look. They were, yeah, the crimes were definitely committed when he was under 18.
When he was under 18, and then going through, once he was charged, he was 18, but the crimes were committed when he was a minor, right?
Yeah, that's what I've read. There's a great article that I can link to. So it says he was charged in early 2024 when he was 17.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
But he is 18 now. They changed his sentencing to community service, mandatory counseling, and he's forbidden to be on school property and also forbidden to access social media. And naturally, there's people are outraged. The crimes were particularly horrifying. He was charged with forcible sex, forcible, they call it oral sodomy, strangulation. He strangled his victims. There's two that came forward. I was reading early this morning that there's a third victim who didn't come forward but is coming forward now. So I'm not clear on that, but there are for sure two victims,
Okay.
both young teenage victims, 16, 15, 16, 16, 17, and they were girlfriends. So each of them had been in a relationship with him between 4 to 6 months. And during that time, he was violent. He would force sex. They would acquiesce out of fear. He would threaten them, threaten their families, strangle them when there was any resistance, strangle them. One victim, he strangled her. She passed out. When she came to, he filmed himself strangling her again. I'm not sure if this was the particular victim, but one of them was injured so badly from the strangulation that she went to the doctor, had to have surgery on her neck. I'm not sure what the actual injury was or what was injured inside that necessitated surgery, but the doctor had told the family that had it been 30 seconds longer, she would have died. And Jesse Mack Butler, was a high school baseball star. His father was
He was like the operations guy for the college football.
University of Oklahoma, Mack
Mm-hmm.
Butler. So his
Mm-hmm.
dad's name's Mack Butler, and then Jesse is Jesse Mack Butler. His mother's name, I think, is Jackie. And so, according to sources, the family has a lot of pull in the town, and that if you see the body cam footage, it's so disturbing. They come to get Jesse Butler, and his mother is it tells you a lot. Tells you a lot, the way that she's behaving with him, just coddling him. Just it's gross. It's really gross. There is no outrage. Like what the fuck is going on? What did you do? What is happening?
Because they knew.
They knew.
Hmm.
Yeah, you have to know. So there's a lot of community outrage, understandably, about the fact that Jesse Butler, who's almost 19, and once he is 19, he will have no record and will be able to go about his life as though nothing fucking happened. There will be nothing linking him to these horrible crimes. So there's that. So, Shannon, you and I have spoken at length, looking at this case,
Hmm.
at how, number one, it is very, very difficult to prosecute rape.
It's like among the hardest ones to prosecute, especially because if there's no evidence. I mean,
In this case, there was. Like,
yeah.
it was very slam dunk. I mean, it wasn't
Mhm.
hard, especially with the video evidence. It was not hard. And the doctors, probably testimonies as well.
But you could even say that that was consensual and accidental. I mean, there's ways you can lie to like frame this stuff to make it look like it was consensual.
I'd
Like,
be so
oops,
curious to see the video, though.
yeah. Oh, I mean,
I think that was, it doesn't get much more kind of black and white than the
and
video.
brazen though. It's like if you really think you're committing a crime, like, you're really going to keep that on your phone and not delete it? Like, that's the part that I'm like, wow. Like,
Well, it begs the question, why are you holding on to this? It reminds me a little bit of trophies
which you could
that
also say though, this is what we were doing for fun, and
and
I
I yeah.
videotaped it for fun, and that's why I still have it and didn't delete it because I'm not afraid and I'm not ashamed. So there's all these ways, like, it's very hard to know what happens between two people, I guess.
Yeah, consent is hard to prove.
Mhm.
That's what always comes down to he said, she said. A lot of times there's limited physical evidence, because not all rape is produces like the tearing and bruising.
Yeah. And if they are with him and then they go back and they stay with him after these things happen, it just adds to this, like, I'm sure I don't know what his defense was, but I'm thinking if I was his defense attorney, that's the stuff that you would be trying to do, is make it look like it was consensual. And if we know that people stay in relationships even though they're harmful and hurtful and abusive, and we know that. But I think it could be used against a person in a case like this where they say, well, it's all within. I looked it up and it doesn't seem like there's any news about a third person, but there could be. Who knows? It's just not showing up. But so you have like two people he's in a relationship with, and the people didn't break up with him after it happened. So, dot, 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 we're going to use this as a defense, right?
Yeah, because initially he pled not guilty.
Oh, he did.
Initially, he
Okay.
pled not guilty, and I'm sure that that the defense used the length of the relationship, the fact that it continued, as evidence for them that, well, how bad could it be? I mean,
Right.
they stayed with him. Oh, well, they were experimenting and trying these rough things. Oops, things went a little too far. It was not intentional. So that but then you've got the video which had to have been so damning. And then I'm guessing the doctor's testimony about the injuries sustained that just don't quite go with consensual, like light choking, light strangulation.
Yeah.
So he was found guilty, but then the sentencing changed and then he pled no contest. So he has to, I think, for it to work, for him to be able to get the counseling, mandatory counseling, community service, etc. Had to be, I guess, a change of plea. I'm not super clear on the legal.
Yeah, so it sounds like what happened is in Oklahoma, so like juvenile sentencing and adult sentencing and a juvenile and an adult court are different. I think maybe one of the main reasons is that it's based on this idea that people under 18, because of our development and how our brain wires and the fact that we don't have a fully wired brain until we're mid 20s, that people who are young have more of a chance of being rehabilitated because there's more flexibility, there's more malleability. It's also true that the statistics bear out that the recidivism rate for sexual assault in a minor is way different than it is in an adult, and that it's low. It's like actually very low, the recidivism rate. I have a statistic here, I could look it up. So based on that, they have this thing in Oklahoma where it's like people who commit pretty heinous crimes, violent crimes, can be given a youthful offender status, but it doesn't mean that they're charged as a child. I think it means they're charged as an adult. I could confirm this, but they're given youthful offender status, which means they're given some leniency because the sense is, okay, well, this person did a really horrible thing, but there's still a chance he could be rehabbed. And so that's why they do this. And if you look at this, there's a legal group's website I pulled up earlier, and it just is really clear. It's not odd for this to happen. It's something they do a lot, and it's pretty common. It's like considered the common pathway of doing this in Oklahoma. But I don't know if that means that the sentencing has to be so light, but the sentencing would be more oriented toward rehabilitation versus punishment. So that's why I think they gave him that status, because he was of between 15 and 17. But the choking part,
That's the part that it's the repeated
mhm,
strangulation,
mhm.
which there's statistics for that.
Well, they say in domestic violence circles that, or in an intimate partner violence circles, that if he can choke you, he can kill you.
That's the thing that I think is you and I have spoken about, like, geez, being teen girls and being sexually harassed and, like, groped
Ugh.
by young boys, which is not cool, right? Which is not cool at all. But it was so bad. I remember being in 8th grade and going in the backstage, like moving props and things backstage for a performance or something, and just I don't know if it was 2 or 1. There was one boy in particular that would just, like, when we were having to pass by each other, would just, like, grab me and, you know, wrestle me and touch me all over and
Oof.
stuff and, like, laugh about it, and he did it once, and I was very upset and surprised, and then we had to pass by each other again in that kind of narrow backstage thing, and I just started hitting him,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
he laughed. Here's the thing, I think he grew out of it. Like, I think he moved on. There
Yeah.
is that kind of stupid, but there's a difference between being young and dumb, and I understand the idea of, like, youthful offender. I understand
Mhm.
that sometimes the worst thing in the world for a young person who has fucked up or made a
Yes.
mistake, throwing them in, like, general population is not gonna help them at all.
No, in fact, yeah, that could ruin
Right.
the whole. Mhm.
And so for this particular kid, I think we crossed paths like years later, I think in high school, totally normal guy. He was just a stupid, horny kid, and it was the 80s, and it was just like, "Oh, boobs," and like stupid. This is like this Jesse Butler, for whatever, clearly there's a sexual component to overpowering young women that arouses him, and that if he's willing to nearly kill.
Mhm.
That's the thing. So it's like, okay, fine, the whole malleable, maybe there's a chance to rehabilitate. In his case,
Mhm.
I don't okay, you could maybe call him a youthful offender, but put him in a mental health facility then. Put him in a mental health facility and do the mandatory counseling. Have him have him locked away for maybe not 78, 80 years or whatever if they thought that was excessive or whatever,
Yeah.
but he will have no record. He gets to be at home. I don't know what their idea of counseling looks like. I mean, he's probably really good at faking being nice.
Yeah, let's see what exactly they're saying about his thing here. So this is really interesting statistic. Okay, I'm not talking about Jesse Butler in particular, but the strangulation is a red flag for violence in adults. Like
Right.
if you're doing that as a kid. But this has really shocked me. So the recidivism rates for juvenile sex offenders
Mhm.
is about 5 to 13% depending on the study. So, respect that concluded that 5% of juveniles were charged with another sexually related crime within 10 years and 9% within 20 years. That's significantly lower. Listen to this, than the recidivism rate for adults, which is 57%. And now that's what really pisses me off is when these sexual offenders as adults get really short sentences.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane because it's almost a guarantee half of them are gonna reoffend. But so with the kids, I mean, it kinda makes sense to me that they would go easier on them if this is the truth about what's happening, but it does depend on the charge. Like, if you look at who's being charged and for what kind of sexual offense, it could be just like, you know, I don't know, not but his are pretty extreme because
His
they
are
involve.
very extreme.
Yeah, and I don't know, sorry, but I'm meant to look this up. What is oral sodomy? Does that mean that he, like.
Forced blowjob, basically. It's
Sodomy, though? I thought that
they
was.
so it
Oh,
could be
oral sodomy. I get it because it's
oral
going in their
sodomy.
mouth.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then
I was.
and yeah, and then they'll also, I think, use the term, sodomy, or it's something that there was something else on there. Sodomy with a it was like a foreign object, but that could be anything from digital penetration to an object. So I'm guessing he probably forced fingers on them, forced his, forced blowjob, and then strangulation and penetration. It's the thing that gets me is when a man can stay hard, stay erect while committing violent acts. That scares me because now he's, I don't know, maybe that's the only way he can get off is if the girl is resisting, which does not bode well. Again, he's 18
Yeah.
now.
So here's what the court said. So he remains under the Office of Juvenile Affairs Supervision until his 19th birthday. He's subject to counseling, therapy, which is the same thing,
Right.
more than 100 hours of community service, a curfew, no social media, daily check ins, and weekly counseling, according to documents obtained by Fox News. So, the Payne County District Attorney's Office said it followed state law in handling the case, which it did, noting that Butler was 17 at the time of the offenses and therefore fell under the Oklahoma Youthful Offender statute. The office said the designation allows the court to maintain supervision until the defendant's 19th birthday and gives him a chance for rehabilitation while still holding him accountable. Okay, so I have something to say about this.
Okay.
This is like edgy. So we talked about this. So I have known people who have had us. This is back when we were young, right? It's different times. I think it was way different times. I think guys grew up in a different kind of culture around sex than they do now, and
For sure.
consent. Like, I remember during our time of teenage years, it was like that's when the no means no thing started, right?
Mhm.
because before that, apparently people didn't know that no meant no.
Yeah,
So
apparently it was confusing.
so I say this with clients all the time when we're talking about their relationships with their partners, right? Like people come in and they'll be like, he doesn't listen to me. He didn't hear me. I've said it a million times. And I'm like, well, are you saying it clearly enough? And are you saying it loudly enough? Are they getting the signal? Do we need to find another way to say it? Because, you know, sometimes you have to say things 10,000 times before someone gets it. So you just have to check the signal. Like, I think these situations, and I've talked to many women about this, and I've been in situations of my own where there's a guy who's super horny, super young, and pushing, ready for sex and pushing you for it, right? And it's one of those situations that are kind of novel. Like if you've never been in a situation like that, you aren't prepared really, which goes to our conversation about preparation and teaching people how to set boundaries and defend themselves and stuff like that. So you're in this situation, you do your best to roll with it. And there are lots of things that come up for people in these situations. Like, wait a minute, I trust this person. Why is he doing this? And before you know it, he's doing something else. And so you're kind of always trying to like respond to what's happening in the moment. And then a lot of people feel that there are social consequences and maybe relational consequences if they protest in a certain way, right? Like, no is enough. It should be enough. No, and like, I don't want to. But that doesn't stop some people. They keep going because they either don't believe that you really mean it, or they are super selfish and just driven by, whatever it is. And I've heard people talk about years later after a situation like a date rape situation happened. I hear people talk about it, and two people, two different parties, right? The woman in the party is sort of dealing with this feeling of like, I didn't protest enough, actually. Like, I said no, but I let it happen. And why did I do that? And then there's like, don't do that to yourself, right? Like, you did what you needed to do to survive that moment. You did what you knew how to do to survive that moment. And like, now you can learn from that and you can think about what you would want to do next time if, God forbid, it ever happens again. But the guy in question later found out that it felt like that to this person. And he was mortified, like, had no idea, because whatever signals were going off, it wasn't registering. He was assuming that, like, it was just some sort of, oh no, coy little dance or something, and felt incredibly guilty and horrified that person would have had that experience. So I do think that can happen. I mean, I know that can happen. I see it all the time. But this is different. I mean, this feels like, unless there's some component we don't know about where he was like sort of like porn induced, fetish induced, thinking this is normal. It doesn't seem like that's really what happened here.
Yeah, no, there's you don't you the unless he was accessing dark web porn where girls were strangled to the point of passing out, because that's not in mainstream porn. That's not, you can't. I mean, they've the credit card companies attached to like all the major, well, any porn site actually, and I know this from owning content and then having to go through the proper channels and making sure that everything is compliant.
Hmm.
There are things that credit card companies will pull from a site if there is anything like even coercion. If there's anything that is even seems like it's coercive, it's not allowed. Hands around the neck, or there's like a lot of different things. So I mean, there's plenty of porn. When I
Hmm.
started in the business so I'd say from like 2003 up to like maybe 2010,
Hmm.
2011, or before 2003, I think even just 2000, that like there was an excessive amount of pornography that was very, very rough, that had a lot of choking, slapping, smacking. And it's still up there. It's still in the archives. It's forever on the internet, but that's around. And that this has always been my issue is a lot of my compatriots in the adult industry will say, and I get it and I understand it, that porn is entertainment. It is not for education. The problem is we don't get to decide what people are learning.
Yeah.
And the fact that young kids can access this material so easily within seconds from their phones, a lot of kids, this is how they're learning how to have sex.
And what's normal?
It's normalized. The women are enjoying it in the scenes, and, the thing is a lot of this stuff is fake. It's not even real, like, the hand isn't even, like, actually choking the girl.
Yeah.
Or you've got an entire crew that's shooting the scene that can step in or stop. Like, a lot of times, most of the time, the talent is given instruction. You can cut at any time. You can signal. There's a safe word, you know? A lot of people don't a lot of kids that are accessing porn early on, they are under the impression that this is real and that this is what women and girls want.
Like violence and sex are one and the same, or
Yeah.
I mean, talk about wiring your environment. You know, when you're we our brains wire to our environment. So if you're getting that kind of input at that age, it's going in that way, right?
Yeah.
Like this is what people do. This act involves like it what should be intimate and what should be like special, and this is how our species recreates itself, this is how people express love or whatever, is married with this violence. I can't even conceive of that because it wasn't the water I was swimming in. But yeah, we know so little about, not that it's an excuse either though, like
No, no, it's
yeah,
not.
yeah,
It isn't. And then of course we have no idea
yeah,
what if Jesse Butler was watching porn. I mean, statistically speaking, I'm sure he was. But whether the strangulation thing that he had going on had anything to do with it or not. The bottom line is he was not hearing the word no. He was not respecting boundaries. And these poor girls didn't feel strong enough or safe enough to tell anyone, to tell any adult authority that
I
they
know.
were being hurt.
Or him, like they didn't feel like they could say, well, they could eventually, it sounds like, but they didn't feel like they could really stand up to his threats. And, we look at him and he's just this little doughboy.
Doughy, yeah.
I'm like,
I'm like,
I'm like,
"That's him?"
well, this guy can kill your family? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, if someone threatened to kill my family, well, see, I was thinking about this. I was quick to judge because I was like, that guy. But I grew up with a dad who was like a burly cop, and I
Right.
knew he would like beat the shit out of anybody who would, which he did once actually. There was this guy who was parked on our street corner one time, and he was like, my sister and I were playing in the sprinklers with our bathing suits on, and my dad saw that he was in his car jerking off. So my dad beat the shit out of him.
Good. Way to go. That's the appropriate fucking response.
Yeah. But we can speculate, but I mean, there's a power differential, I'm guessing, because his family is so prominent and seemed like a good kid, baseball star. And maybe there felt like the social consequences would be too great if they came out kind of guns blazing, like this guy's a freak.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's so interesting you say that because it brings to mind some of what when we were doing the Columbine episode and we were talking about the culture of Columbine High School and that these student athletes at the school were just let off the hook for every little fucking thing. And they were raping their girlfriends, beating their girlfriends up like at school, and the
Yes.
girls were encouraged to not say anything because their boyfriends needed to be able to play the big game that Friday night. And
That
that was the
happened. Yeah.
culture. I mean, you learn that as a girl or a woman, you have no value compared to these guys. Like, hey, well, think about them, think about their career. And it's like, oh, you're not important. Your job is to be agreeable and pretty and popular. And you get to be the girlfriend of this star athlete.
Yeah, and why did you put yourself in that position? Like couple of people I knew in high school went to a party. I wasn't at that party that weekend, but they were really drunk, all of them, and the guys had sex with them when they passed out. And they knew about it from memory, but also from maybe someone telling them. I can't remember exactly, but they went to the sheriffs and they talked to the sheriff about it, the sheriff's department, and they basically were like, you guys don't have a leg to stand on. You can't really prove that, and you were drunk, and they'll never it won't fly. And so they just dropped it. But the school knew and nothing happened to the guys. And then they
Yeah.
continued to do it. And that's the worry, I guess, about this is that like he'd received no punishment really, and he's going to have a clean slate, which is
And what message is this sending to the other high school athletes or the men at the high school and the girls? What message is this sending to them?
yeah, you boys feel free to rape. That's the
Yeah.
message.
For those that are confused as to how Jesse Butler got the sentence, and I wasn't clear either, but he was a minor when these rapes happened, and therefore he's given the youthful offender status, which comes with really no consequences. And the thing is that the strangulation that should have been treated differently. Like that should carry some weight. Like
I
that
know,
should carry some
right?
fucking weight. He nearly killed a girl, and he kept doing it.
I know in a psychological profile, that's the weird thing about this is like, I guess that's why people are pissed because in a psychological profile, if you're profiling someone and you're going, they're killing animals, they wet the bed till they were 15, whatever, all the things that,
Right.
then you have a different picture of your person that you're trying to sentence. So yeah, I just want to know like how much weight, because if it was merely, I'm saying that I'm sarcastically, a sexual offense, the the recidivism rate shows they're not really a danger to society because of the low recidivism rate. Apparently, they can
Right.
be rehabbed. But that adds another thing, like you said. I mean, it really adds another thing that there was the choking, which is so in close, which is so intimate, which is there's no other reason you choke someone other than to make them unconscious or dead.
Just to
Um,
scare them,
mhm,
to scare them, to kill them.
right?
Yeah. I mean, that's he choked them until they were. Do you know how long you have to strangle someone before they pass out?
A long time.
Yeah,
Unless
and
you
you
do
know how
this.
hard you have to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw pictures of the strangulation, the bruises around this girl's fucking neck. Like he was fucking strangling her.
And the videotaping of it, which is
Yeah.
also a little, but so the thing is that I think he's still got a light sentence. I think that even if you have youthful offender status, you can still do jail time because jail isn't prison. Jail is
True.
jail, and you can have other kinds of, stuff that you have to do. So I think in addition to getting youthful offender status, he got a very light sentence, and that's what's really
Yeah.
pissing people off. Yeah. Mhm.
He will do it again. I'm not clear on this either, but I want to say that he is already in violation of his sentencing. Maybe you can look it up.
I'll look it up.
That he was driving under the influence
Oh my god.
recently. I'm not sure.
Is he in violation? No court finding of violation exists yet.
Okay.
It says claim. Oh, there's a claim that he received a DUI shortly after sentencing. It's unverified.
Okay.
There's a claim that he messaged girls post sentencing, unverified. No, nothing that's been
That's
verified.
been verified. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the really hard thing. I mean, the truth of the matter is, in general, it's so hard to prosecute rape because most of these things are intimate partner. Most of these things are not like a creepy guy that snuck into your window and attacked you. It's usually someone you know, someone in your circle.
It's hard because, like, I'm just thinking about there's this tension that exists, between justice for victims and offender rehab. Like, it's hard to get behind the idea of rehabilitation when you feel so violated and it's such an awful crime. I've always struggled with that. I understand that it can work. It's just like I wish there was a way to be more intelligent. Like, I feel like they missed the mark on this one, I guess I should just say. Like, sure, maybe your average 17-year-old who does something like this might be rehabbed. It might just be this thing like, oh, shoot, I didn't get it. I know that she meant no now, blah, 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 whatever.
Sure.
But the strangulation, I wish they would have factored that in terms of predicting future violence. And it doesn't seem like they did really. Like, because that's a huge predictor of violence.
And that it happened multiple times. One time you can go, "Whoops, I saw it in a porno clip and thought it might be hot."
Yeah.
Okay, well, it wasn't. Okay, whoops, my bad. This is a repeated thing. It's his MO. He does it over and over and over again. We can look at how rape is so difficult to prosecute. It is, and I don't know that it's ever going to get better. But there's certain things that I think have to happen. It's interesting because I'm the mother of three boys. And I remember just being so relieved I didn't have a daughter. Not because I don't, love girls. I have a goddaughter. I absolutely love her so much. But it was this. It's this. It's
Yeah.
how do you raise a girl to be safe in this world, you
In this
know,
culture, yeah, yeah, yeah.
in this culture. And one thing I've drilled into, especially my older son, my twins they're late bloomers. They all they care about is sports and video games. But my oldest child, I remember just really pressing the consent, 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 and that we have to. There's always the people that say, well, we need to teach boys not to rape, and I'm like, okay, well, that's awesome. In a perfect world, we'd be able to do that. But rape it's not a blanket thing. There's a lot of different reasons why and how people rape.
Mhm.
But the bottom line is I think about these girls, these victims of Jesse Butler's, and the fact that they were in a relationship with him and that they were in that relationship and they were scared and they felt helpless and they didn't feel safe and they almost died, right?
Yeah.
And I think it should be mandatory for girls starting in maybe junior high school through high school to be required to take self defense and classes that also help them in terms of having agency, finding their agency, and learning how to defend themselves. And there should be like a universal safe word. I'm sorry. And it should be, I do not consent. And the minute that that is said, if someone is in violation of that sentence,
Mhm.
easier to prosecute,
Yes.
you know?
And I feel like there should be, like, social costs, like yeah, I know you can't do that. I mean, you can't we can't really change the hearts and minds of people unless there's, like, very, very early education where everyone has to be compliant and, like, I'm just thinking about, like, how a culture of I know we call it rape culture, but, like, a the bro culture or something that, like, jocks I know what it was like for us when we were in high school. I don't know what it's like now, and I'm assuming that it's regional.
It
I'm
is,
assuming.
it's regional.
Yeah.
I have to give
Mhm.
props to where my kids go to school, man.
Yeah.
We're also on the West Coast. We're in a major city.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's different.
it's different.
And so I think
Yeah.
there should be like, in some ways, shame is a very powerful shaper of behavior. And like people tend to not do things that will cost them socially or otherwise. And I just, wish there was some way to sort of like assertiveness training, clarity about boundaries, recognizing the signals. I'm all into like neuroscience right now and finding new ways to describe to clients like why I'm telling them to do the things I'm telling them to do. But our brain is this amazing predicting machine. Basically it takes from the sensory present that we're in and it takes our history of learning and every single moment we're in, it's predicting the next thing that's about to happen. It's not meant for like thinking. It's meant for predicting. And it evolved in terms of like hunting. Is that thing in the distance going to eat me or is it something I can eat? Like right now if I said Mary had a little, everyone
Lamb.
would know.
Right.
So like in situations that are novel and we haven't had that experience before, we may not predict that it will go sideways. Sometimes things are unpredictable. But if we have training beforehand, I feel like, training about like potential scenarios and reading signs, where sort of like knowing where if you can catch it. I think they train this in like in a physical way with self-defense training, but like emotional and mental preparedness. What comes up when we're really threatened, we don't have much control over, right? We do fight, flight, we do fawning, we do freeze. But like you could help people mentally prepare for the possibility of things getting out of control at a party, at a, with a boyfriend, and how. Like not that you can say no, but like how. How do you say no? And then what do you do like the next step if you've already said no and they override that? To know that your mind's going to be overwhelmed probably and already predicting, if I punch this guy and I kind of like to get away from him, I'll go back to school on Monday and he'll paint a story of me as being, blah, 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 and sees the narrative and then everybody will hate me. And there's like stuff like that goes through our minds really quickly when we're under threat in those kinds of situations. And we make a calculation really quickly and some people freeze and just get it over with and move on, and some people fight and some people do all kinds of things. So I wish there was more mental preparation is what I'm saying.
Absolutely, absolutely a mental preparation. I mean, I think about these girls like in throwing him into a triangle and like choking him unconscious, like, which is
Yes.
absolutely possible because he's a fucking baseball player. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
I know Tim said they don't. I asked Tim, I was like, why are baseball players so unfit? He's all because they like to party sometimes and they like to eat and they can get away with it because they don't have to be that athletic. They can still
Yeah, like,
run.
but that's the thing. I'm like, just dude, it would not have been not even too much training to be able to like take him.
Yes. To decide, but then that moment of like deciding to take him is the moment where it's like, do I do it? It's like when people get guns. Like, will I actually use this if I need to?
Right.
But it would be amazing, right? Yes, to just roll him what's a triangle?
So like let's say he's going to strangle, right? So then
Uh-huh.
she would like grab his arm, lift her hips up, pull his arm through between her legs, take one leg, wrap it around his neck,
Mhm.
straighten the other leg, and choke him with her legs,
Mm.
pulling his arm through until
Mhm.
he
Mm.
goes limp, basically.
Mhm. Mhm.
There's this great video, you can find it on YouTube, of this guy trying to attack a girl, and she holds him in a triangle
Mm.
while someone else goes, I think, waiting for cops to come, but she's like got him. Like
Mhm.
she's was a skilled jujitsu practitioner. So there's definitely things you can do, even if you're smaller in size than the person. But again, you're right. A lot of this, again, and this gets back to the culture, the culture of being a young girl in whatever town this is,
Mhm.
where maybe the cost of defending herself is greater to her.
Yeah.
If he's convinced her that she's not going to be safe unless she goes along with it, convinced her maybe that no one's going to believe her, that he's Mr. High and Might. There's so much we don't know. I don't know how popular he was at school. I mean, I'm making stereotyping a little bit about like this being like a smaller town in Oklahoma where you're just
You're
if
stuck.
you're stuck, you
That's
don't
all you
know.
got. Yeah.
Yeah, this is it. Like you're gonna go to school and no one's gonna talk to you, or they're gonna think you're stupid because you didn't go along with it. I don't know. I hate that. I hate it.
Also that he's their boyfriend. He's somebody who's supposed to care about them. He goes to church with their family. The parents
Yeah.
love him. And then he does this thing and it like of course it's like we're collecting information, right? You get. And so they're like doing this thing. They see this thing that goes in the hopper with everything else and then they're like, oh, confused. And maybe they go back and they think, oh, this is an anomaly. It's not going to happen again. And then he does it again. And, so it's like, it's understandable.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get how and why this happens. It just kills me because, at least a stranger jumps out of the bushes and rapes you and runs away. And it's very clear cut. I was
Yeah.
attacked. This thing happened. But fucking A, when it's your boyfriend, he's got your number, he knows where you live,
That's
there's an
true.
expectation, and it's just that feeling in the pit of your stomach that this is gonna keep happening. That this is
Yeah.
it. And I worry for these girls, too, because what did they just learn? They learned that he is gonna have no fucking record when he's 19. I hope that they can see the outrage. Oh, by the way,
Mhm.
at 10 a.m. on November 4th, so tomorrow, at the Stillwater Courthouse, there's a protest. For anybody who might be listening, well, it would have passed already because we're
Oh,
recording this on a
yeah.
Monday. But there is I'd be interested to know. So like after this comes out, we will know that there was a protest. People are unhappy. They're unhappy. So
Good. That's good.
at least the girls have that knowledge that there's a whole out there's an outraged reaction, and then for the rest of us, I don't know what to say. I mean, this is unfortunately what happens.
I know it is. It really is. And, I understand why. This is another one of those bitter pills to swallow. Like, the her word against his word. Like,
Right.
unfortunately, there are people in the world who report rapes that never happened. And
The Duke lacrosse. I mean, there's a few famous instances of that happening.
so to
Yeah.
protect against that, you have to sort of not just believe people when they say it. But that's hard. I mean, and I actually personally know someone who well, I know someone who knows someone who did that, who made a fake allegation and never retracted it. And it happens a lot with teens these days. It's in schools. I know other therapists who have worked with people who did nothing, but were that was used against them by
Right.
someone. Well, they say they did nothing, but that's the thing. Once you're accused, it's like, do people really believe you ever that you didn't?
Well, no, and we have a system that we need in
Yeah,
place, which is that you are innocent until proven guilty. Like take that away, and we're all completely fucked. Unfortunately, things fall through the cracks. I mean, it's not perfect, but you are innocent until proven guilty. But at the same time, there are instances of false allegations. That is a thing.
and also, yeah, like I mean, all the arguments about this is a tangent, but like the thinking about how our courts really are sort of biased. Like once you're actually, I mean, there is an innocent till proven guilty, but kind of not. Like
Yeah,
once
no,
you're
yeah,
accused of
that's
something, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
You just don't ever want to be. Gosh, I mean, on either side. I mean, fuck, being accused of something or being the victim of something. It is rough, but the only thing that we can do as women
hmm
is learn how to defend ourselves and not make it incumbent upon somebody's mom to raise them to not fucking be a rapist. I'm sorry.
a
That's
hundred
wishful
percent.
thinking.
And
Yeah.
don't get fooled by like a wolf in sheep's clothing. And don't distrust your pattern recognition system and listen to your gut and your fear and use it. Oh, there's this great that YouTube thing I sent you with I sent it a while back with a bunch of other stuff, so maybe it got buried, but it's by that neuroscientist woman who I'm like following and love. And she's talking about her daughter was doing, I think it was BJJ, I'm not sure, but she was
Mhm.
doing it against like a black belt, a double black belt or something. And she had to do a certain thing, and she was about to wrestle him, and he could tell that she was really anxious, and he was like, honey, he's like, get your butterflies flying in formation. And she said it was like the most beautiful intervention, because it's not about don't be anxious, don't have nerves. It's like use it. And so I think that's what we need to be trained into, is like use what's showing up for you to move and to defend yourself and to do what you need to do to protect yourself in this moment. And I guess we don't really get that training. And we learn from our experiences, when we kind of can't meet the moment in a way we would like to. We then I think learn how to. But it would be great to just have that training before anything happens, you know?
Yeah, I think about when I was in college, there was this girl that I knew. I knew so many interesting people because I lived on campus in the dorms, and there was a girl. She was very cool,
Mhm.
and I really liked her. She was an oddball, a gorgeous girl, but she was kind of a hippie, and she and her family were like nudists. And
Mhm.
so I remember being in her dorm room, and she had like framed pictures of her with her family, and it's them naked, like just doing like things like on vacation. They're just nude, and I'm like,
That's amazing.
yeah. But obviously at school she wore clothes and all that. But apparently, I wasn't at this party. I found out about it from a friend of mine. But she was at a fraternity party and drunk, and she took off all her clothes, and she was walking around the party nude. And I found out about it later, And I was like, "Well, shit, was she okay?" Like, and they were like, "No, no, no, she was fine, but fucking A, dude, she, like, took off all her clothes, she's like, 'I'm a nudist, yeah,' just walking around." So, nothing happened to her, but my first thought was, like,
No idea how vulnerable,
she could
yeah.
get raped and someone's gonna say she was asking for it or whatever. Nothing happened, but it's that thing of, like, yeah, in a perfect world, we should be able to walk around scantily clad, be naked at a party, be drunk and a mess at a party and not at risk. But that's not the world we fucking live in.
It's not.
And as much as guys shouldn't rape, yeah, I agree with that.
Guys rape a lot.
They do. Yeah, it happens.
It's crazy. I mean, it's like it's bizarre. I know that sex in the animal kingdom is fucking brutal. Like, have
Oh
you know
yeah.
what sea otters do to baby
They're
dolphins?
t
They're
yeah.
assholes.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like something takes over in the lizard brain or something. I have no idea. There's also other power stuff. There's just like sickness, all of it. But it happens a lot. And
yeah.
brutality against women. Like, we've come a long way in terms of, I guess being with liberated, as they would say. But like the violence against women is, I mean, as far as I know,
It hasn't decreased necessarily,
I
right?
don't think so.
No, and then we add to that, and I know that this is a conversation for another time, and it
Mhm.
it also harkens back to a prior conversation we had about, the case against the sexual revolution. But we're in a culture, we have a lot of mixed messages happening, which is out of one side of our mouth, we're calling out for female empowerment and to be safe and all of
Mhm.
these kinds of things, and out of the other side, it's this, wet ass pussy, shaking your ass, OnlyFans, fucking 1,000 guys in a day, social media posts where it's sort of like this messaging that female empowerment is sex, and it's not.
Right.
I'm sorry, it's not. I say that
Ah,
as a fucking porn actress, porn performer, pornographer. No, it's not.
no.
Yeah, yeah, getting your bag, using, shaking your ass on the pole and all that kind of stuff. I'm sorry. Like, I say that, I still make a living using my body, and I can tell you 20 plus, 30 plus years of doing this, that is not where power comes from. That is not where the fucking power comes from. But we have that, culturally, and so I see that sometimes when I'm, like, picking up the kids from school, and I see these girls, and they're young, and they're acting out sexually, because of I don't know why, but I mean, I could venture to guess that some of it may have to do with the messaging that's going out there, and they're vulnerable.
But this is a good segue into like we are going to do an episode on that book and talk about this in more detail because that there is something, yeah, like could that be an invitation that's posture of like a
It
sexually
could be
liberated
perceived. It could be
perceived as an
perceived as an
invitation? Yeah, yeah,
invitation.
yeah, yeah.
But there's also this idea of, like, yeah, this is empowerment, but also, like, this is what men want.
Yes.
Right? That messaging, like, the Cosmo article a long time ago about do this because he likes it. And it's like, but do you like it? Do you want it?
That is also what we need to be trained in.
Yeah, is to, like, actually recognize what your needs, wants, and desires are, like, all your own, not commingled with what you think or what we're being taught that men want, and then being told that it's what we want.
Well, that's the thing is like that's so tricky, right? In terms of learning, right?
Yeah,
If nobody's telling the truth, like if nobody's able to tell the truth because there's this cultural fad of like sexual liberation in women, meaning that you can just like wear nothing, shake your butt, like all the things, like
right.
if that's out there and no one's really telling the truth about their real experience of that, and everybody's just sort of doing what they see their peers doing, you think you're the abnormal one. Like there's something wrong with you that you have an issue with that. Like as I feel like these cultural sort of fads and stuff take hold and then the learning is that's if you were liberated, you would want that. That means you're not liberated.
Right.
That means you
That means you're backwards.
right, you're conservative, which is like a
Right.
curse word, right? You're conservative, you're a prude, you're in order to be liberated, You should be like twerking in the grocery store.
Right.
Anyway, something like that. Or you
Yeah.
should have multiple partners starting at age 16 and everyone else is doing it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of this weird messaging
Mhm.
that's going on, and it's a thing where I hesitate. I'm not out here trying to tell people what to think or what they find empowering or not. I'm not here to say that. I'm just saying I think it warrants a conversation about kind of where we are as a culture and how it informs violence.
Well, yeah, and like I really want to ask people, do you feel empowered by that? Because
Yeah.
most people I talk to that I know, I'm thinking of clients, I'm thinking of friends, family. Most people I know don't find that part of, but again, we're a different era. Like we didn't come from the 50s
Right.
where there was a leap of sorts around what was considered like permissive for women, right? Like you couldn't wear my mother-in-law couldn't wear pants to teach when she was teaching in New York when she first started teaching, or maybe she was in California by then. But maybe we needed some sort of revolution, but or maybe we needed some loosening up of women and sex. But is it empowering? That's a good question. And what does
Right.
empowering mean?
Yeah. Because for it to be empowering, again, we're totally getting off. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm gonna save this
yeah.
for I'm gonna put a pin in it. So to get back to Jesse Mack Butler and this conversation about rape and rehabilitation and agency in young girls and what can be done moving forward. And again, just saying boys shouldn't rape, absolutely, totally not going to argue with you there. But in the meantime, what can women and girls do to protect themselves? And I wish we had more information about these girls and their relationship with Jesse Butler and their relationships with their families and school and friendships and stuff where they felt like they were not safe. They were not safe to be able to say, "Hey, this thing happened and I got strangled and I'm scared and Jesse said he was going to kill me if I told anybody. I don't know what to do, but I'm scared."
Yeah, the social hierarchy alone, I think, would prevent people from really just acting on anything.
Right, and that's kind of like the theory that we're working with is
Yeah.
that there's clearly things in place where they felt it wasn't until things had gone so far where they actually were able to say something.
I mean, it takes an incredible amount of courage to come out
Yes,
with something like this, and especially in a small town
right.
and against a person who, is a star at the school.
It's so weird. I'm sorry. I see him in those
I know.
sunglasses.
Oh my
I
god.
look at him in those sunglasses. I'm sorry. When I saw him, this is going to sound terrible, but I'm like, the Pillsbury Doughboy is a rapist.
He looks like a bobblehead. And
He does, and we're not trying to I mean, maybe we are a little bit. I'm
he
not this
deserves
isn't
a
a
little shame.
yeah, he just it's that baby face, that, like, weird I picture him with, a little sailor's cap on, you know?
Yeah, I mean, wolf in sheep's clothing. I mean, it's just like
Yeah,
you know what? It's unpredictable. It's really hard, like to like have someone look like that and be like that in the world, and then have them do this thing to you. But you're the only ones experienced it that way that you know of, and it doesn't align with anything that the world
right,
sees. I imagine it feels felt so lonely and scary to them at the same time. Like I am the sole witness to this insane thing. He tried to kill me,
right,
and everybody else thinks he's just this cute little, whatever.
right. The star athlete.
Hmm.
Oh, man, that's the scariest thing. Oh, and they were with him for months, so it just kept going and going and going.
And it probably wasn't every time. And they probably live with this sense of people can really beat themselves up over, why didn't I just leave right away? Why didn't I blah, blah, blah? I hope they're not doing that to themselves.
Yeah. Well, that was our episode on Jesse Mack Butler, and more things will probably surface as time goes on because there is a strong reaction to the outcome of the case, and I'm so curious about this protest if it's going to actually do anything. There's also like I sent you a TikTok of a guy talking about the case, and also there's a petition. I
Mhm.
don't think the petition's gonna do anything, but I am surprised, and I know we keep going over this again, but that the strangulation wasn't like an extenuating kind of circumstance that would have led to a slightly different, maybe, sentencing. Again, I'm not saying the 78 years, but maybe within his juvenile status.
The choking thing seems significant, but yeah.
Yeah, the choking thing seems like an addition, like,
Mhm.
as opposed to just, like, restraint and violent.
Mhm. That we know is emblematic of some other more serious.
Right, it's a predictor
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
murder
Mhm.
down the line, or yeah. Oh, man.
Yay, yay.
But okay. Guys, please weigh in. If like sometimes we have listeners write in and they've got inside information or experience with the cases that we discuss. So please share, let us know, and send us anything you'd like us to cover. Again, we were very happy to receive this request from one of our listeners. But yeah, this is a tough fucking topic, and it's too bad that we couldn't wrap it up with some kind of happy outcome.
Yeah. I mean, the happiest outcome is,
People are reacting.
yeah,
There's a strong reaction.
and maybe they'll be held accountable for maybe imposing strict stricter sentences on even minors. This was
Sure.
really light. And also, there's, like, solidarity around the girls, but also, like, just their courage in coming
Yeah.
forward. It's something they could be really, really proud of. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because they are possibly protecting someone in the future. If they hadn't said anything, there would have been, another girlfriend and then another one, and then who knows, maybe he kills the next girl. We don't know. It
Yep.
sure looked like it was going that direction though, with how badly he hurt that one victim's neck.
Yep.
Okay, that is it for us today. We'll be back next week, and happy November because we are in November now. Please follow us on Instagram at Secret Passage Podcast. On X, we are at Secret Pass Pod. Join us on Patreon if you would like to. Send us an email. Please leave us a 5-star rating, whether you think we're worth it or not. Just kidding.
If you think we don't deserve it, please say what. Please, you can reach out and tell us why.
Yeah. Yeah. So awesome. See you next time, friends.
Bye-bye.
Bye.